In my last video, I talked about climate change and its weak points. In this video, I'll be talking about myths and beliefs, how to strengthen ourselves, energy and development, and many other important topics. So as always, what is the aim for this video? So in this video, we're aiming to wrap up the aim of this series and present the result at the end. Okay, let's start by looking at energy and development. There are some countries in the world, due to their lack of resources, cannot use their full potential that is present in their country. For example, you can look at Africa. When you look at Africa's map, you can see either forest or either desert. All of that forest contains a lot of geothermal energy. But Africa is a poor country, and because of that, it doesn't have enough technologies to use all of that energy that is present in the country. So what's the solution? How do we make Africa use all of its potential? Well, we can always help them by getting them out of the poverty trap, or give them loan or there are many ways that you can do about it. But the most effective way is to get Africa out of poverty, because if you get Africa out of poverty, then we will have suddenly one more country that's helping us in the fight of climate change. Okay, now let's move on to some myths and beliefs about fairness of climate change. Poor countries say that don't expect anything from us. We are poor, we don't have enough resources. How can we do anything about it? And then the rich countries say, well, if you are not helping, then why will we help? Why are we going to help and other people not helping at all? And the argument goes on. And because of this, there's still unfairness to the topic of climate change. We can stop this argument by just saying that if poor and rich countries both work together, then it will be easier for us and it will be very fair for us to fight climate change. And on the other hand, we have countries like China, which say, we are burning fossil fuels, we are ruining our future. But for who? We are burning fossil fuels for products that you can't live without. And you can argument this back by just saying that who in the world will put their future at the cost of just a good product? Almost no one will. Okay, now let's move on to funding. Funding of climate change and its goals. Well, if we talk about fairness in funding, we need to move towards fair ways like charity and social movements. These movements allow everyone to join in, and it's fair for everyone to donate some money to fight climate change. On the other side, we have unfair funding ways, like a country fully spending all its money on fight of climate change and at the end becoming a low income country itself. What was the point of spending all of your money when your future is going to be horrible? So spending all of your money on the fight of climate change is not a good idea. In other ways, you can say that you can fund some money using charities, or you can all come with a social movement, which also can influence the leaders to spend some money on climate change. Okay, so what did I mean? I meant that don't waste all your money. Tell everyone to join in. If everyone joins in, then we are going to win. Okay, now let's move on to top 3 different ways of climate change. And these ways are most effective and efficient according to the scientists. So the first one is poverty trap. If we remove poverty trap, then, as I talked about before, we will have certainly a lot more countries that's going to help us. Second, we have fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are the main cause of climate change right now. If we tell our industries to move from fossil fuels to renewable energy, then we won't have enough we will not have that many carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas emissions that we have right now. And the last but not the least, we have afforestation. Afforestation is basically planting more trees. The trees will take in more carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases and put out more good gases like oxygen and other important gases that our atmosphere can adapt to. Okay, we know the ways, we know the techniques, we know how to implement them, but we don't know how to improve ourselves. Well, we can improve ourselves by balancing everything we have on us right now. If we need to live peacefully, we need to balance climate change, we need to balance our industries, we need to balance fossil fuels, we need to balance everything we have right now. Or in other words, we are incrementally approaching to update ourselves constantly. We are updating ourselves constantly. We are updating our ways, we are updating our technologies, we are updating our thoughts and our beliefs. Why are we doing this? We are doing this to be more updated because anything is not up to date forever. For example, you can say that afforestation will be not valid after 20 years. Why? There might be a case that if we plant more trees, then it's not going to affect climate change because there will be so much greenhouse gas emissions for all the trees to tolerate, and the trees will themselves not be able to control climate change. And in this case, the afforestation way is not valid anymore. And this is the reason why we need to constantly update our ways and our thoughts. By the time of 22nd century, we need to almost remove 70% of the poverty in the world. If we do that, then we will not only achieve a goal that we are actually moving toward climate change. And if we remove all of that poverty, at least 70% of the poverty, then we will have more people joining us in the fight of climate change. And if we don't reach this goal, then we will come to a total failure. What I mean by that is, if we can't complete our goals right now, how can we aim to complete our goals in the future? We would come to a complete mass extinction, and we won't be able to fight climate change at all. As I talked about in the last video too, luck does play a role. If we luckily stay under 2 degrees Celsius limit, then we will more than likely win the fight of climate change or minimize the effects of climate change. If we stay more than 2 degrees Celsius limit, then we are unlikely to win the fight of climate change and more likely to lose the fight of climate change. So that's why we should aim to stay under 2 degrees Celsius limit for our happy future. We need to unite together because if everyone comes together, we have more power. We need to choose better leaders. If we choose better leaders, then those leaders will in the future think about new ways and start spending money on funding the goals of removing climate change. Or in other words, we can say that we are strengthening ourselves before we actually get into the fight of climate change. Keep doing social movements because social movement does grow awareness and it does influence the leaders to think about what they're doing right now. So keep doing social movements, keep growing awareness. All of this is going to help in the future. Okay, this is it for this video. In the next video, I'll be talking about new series. And stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.